Hello, my name is Mr. Mendoza. I will be going over 1.1 notes. This will be going in your notebook. So as I go through this, make sure that you can pause it. So you can go ahead and put this in your notes. Make sure it's Avid style. I'm sorry, Cornell note style. So you have the topic, you have the essential question, you have the vocab written down, inverse operations, and then isolating the variable. We'll talk about inverse operations, and we'll be talking about isolating the variable. So we have 4 problems up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do 4. And this is one-step equations, and we're going to be dealing with addition and subtraction. And we're going to be doing the inverse. So for number 1, we ask ourselves, what's happening to the variable? Okay, what's happening to it? We can see, well, it's being summed by 5. We're adding by 5. So what's the inverse of adding by 5? It's minus 5. So we say minus 5 to one side and to both sides, because whatever we do to one side of the equal sign, we must do to the other. Must stay the same. So this cancels, and look here, this does not cancel. Negative 13 minus 5 is negative 18. So x equals negative 18. To check your work, to see if you did it right, you can always plug it back in. When you plug it back in, it means you plug it back into your original equation to see if it's a true statement. If this holds true, the equal holds true, then you have a right answer. So let's go ahead and do it just for this one, and then we won't do it for the other ones because the video, I don't want it to be that long. So we plug in our x value. Okay, plug in our x value to see if it's a true statement. Negative 18. Okay, we plug it in here. Negative 18 plus 5 is negative 13 equals negative 13. Is this a true statement? The answer is yes. So if it's right, if it's true, it means that we found the correct x value. You can do that every single time to check that you're doing the right work. Okay, I'm only going to do it for this one to check our work because I want to make this a little quicker, so that way you have more time to do stuff at home. We're going to go on to number 2. Same thing. We ask ourselves, what's happening on this side? We look at 7, right? Is 7 positive or negative? It's positive. So if it's positive, what's the inverse of positive 7? Minus 7. What do you do to one side? Right? You do to the other side. Minus 7. Okay? Negative 13 minus 7 is negative 21. So x equals 21. Okay? That's the answer. Example number 3. We ask ourselves again, what's happening to the variable? My variable is x. Okay? We want to isolate the variable, just like over there. Isolate the variable there, isolate the variable here. Now we're going to do it here. Okay, what's happening over here? This is a negative 5. It is a negative 5. Okay? Don't let this trick you. Okay? It says we're adding by 5, but we're adding by a negative 5. So we need to add by a positive 5. So we do to one side, okay? But we do to the other. So we're going to go ahead and add by 5. Add by 5. This cancels. X equals negative 25 plus 5. It's 20. Okay? Next one. Example 4. We have fraction. Don't be afraid of fractions. What's happening to my variable? Well, there's a fraction happening to it. Is the fraction positive or negative? It's negative. So what's the opposite of 5/3? Positive 5/3. Okay? Negative 5/3 plus 5/3? That just cancels. Okay, equals 0. What we do to one side, we do to both sides. Okay? So I like doing fractions horizontally. You don't have to. You can do it the wrong way. I'll do both ways so you can see. So you'll have 5/3. Okay, 5/3. We can't have fractions unless we have the same common denominator. So what do we do to change? Well, look at 6 and 3. What's the least common multiple? Okay? Well, we know that it's going to be 6, right? 3 goes into 6. How many times? 2. So we multiply this by 2, this by 2, okay? And this turns into 10 over 6, okay? Now we can add the 5/6 and the 10/6, okay? So we're going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to say x equals 5/6 plus 10/6, okay? Then we have the same common denominator. Now we can go ahead and add the numerators. The numerators add, right? The denominators stay the same. So x equals 15 over 6. Okay? So that's how we do that. Again, feel free to go ahead and pause this, put this in your notebook. These are our notes, and we'll add some more notes, but this is how we do one-step equations with addition and subtraction. I'm going to go ahead and move on to multiplication and division. So I'm going to erase this. So make sure you pause it if you still haven't finished this down. Okay, we're back. One-step equations, multiplication and division. One step. And we're still going to be doing inverse. So the inverse here is what's happened to my variable. It's being divided by 8. So what's the inverse of division? It's multiplication, right? So we're going to multiply both sides by 8. Why? Because the inverse of dividing by 8 is multiplying by 8. So we're going to multiply by 8. Okay? And so, remember, when we multiply by 8, imagine there's a 1 here. Right? Imagine there's a 1 there. Same thing. 8 divided by 1 is just 8. This tells you that 8's on the top, 8's on the bottom. 8's on the denominator, 8's on the numerator. And that basically means that we divide 8 by 8, which divides out. So it divides out is just nothing left but v. So then v equals whatever this turns into, which is 16. Okay? Now, we're going to check our work for the first one, only for the first one, and then we'll move on. So we plug in our v value into the original equation, and what's the v value? V value is 16. Okay? What's 16 divided by 8? 2, right? So 2 equals 2. Is this a true statement? The answer is yes. It checks. When in doubt, always check your work. Now we're going to do example number 2. Very similar. Okay? We have v, and we're dividing by 6. Dividing by 6. The inverse of division by 6 is multiplying. I know I'm going to run out of space here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it over again, because I don't have space, and I want space. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. Okay, that cancels, right? And then 4 times 6 is 24. Okay. We're going to do number 3 now. What's happening to x? Multiplying by a -9. What's the inverse of multiplying by a -9? Dividing by a -9. Okay, -9 divided by -9. Right, anything divided by itself is just 1. So it divides out. So we get x by itself. X equals -45 divided by -9. Okay, the answer is 5. Okay. Now, why is it positive? Remember, anytime you divide a negative by a negative, positive. Anytime you multiply a negative times a negative, it's positive. So whenever you have two negatives in a row, positive, right? There we go. We'll do our last one. What's happening to my variable? You have to ask yourself that. What's happening to the variable? Okay. We are multiplying by 7. So what do? Ask ourselves, what's the inverse? The inverse is division. Okay? 7 divided by 7 is just 1. Eliminates out. 49 divided by 7 is 7. Okay? So that completes our one-step equations using multiplication and division. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions on this, please comment. Please send me a reminder. Again, this is going to go, I'm thinking right now as it stands, this is going to go in page 6. So what I'm going to do now is say, hey, page number 7. Okay, and we're going to do the journal. So this is going to be the notebook right here. So in your notebook, and when I mean notebook, I mean like your math notebook. So we have, so this is going to go on page 7, right? Page 7, Cornell note style. It's going to go here, okay? Follow the Cornell note style. It's going to go there. I'll post an example of how that looks like. And then on the journal, and when I mean journal, I mean this guy here, okay? On this guy, the journal, we're going to do pages, let me see here. Where's my journal? Where's my journal? I'm going to do pages. We're going to do page 6 on the journal. Page 6. And we're going to do numbers 1 through 9. Okay. That is your homework. If you have any questions, let me know. I will also post this on modules. Thank you for watching.